Hi everyone, this is Magic Matt. Welcome to the Real Gamerscore podcast. This week I'm joined by my sexy assistant Cameron.
Hello.
Here at Real Gamerscore, we like to discuss all things Xbox, achievements, and delayed reactions. Or at least, reactions to delayed games. This week we like to talk about licensed garbage, the power of the cloud, and fleeing the country while it's on fire. But first, here's the song of the week. Was playing through my games on the corner of my eye, saw a random invite just for me. He said, "Have never seen a tag with so much Gamerscore. Could you sell out your account to me? If I pay the right price and I ask you real nice, so you can just start over anyway." I said, "What's the point of buying accounts? Why not play it for yourself?" He just laughed at me, and here's what he said. He said, "Ain't no time for achievements. Completions don't grow on trees. I got people to impress. I gotta get on the feed. No TOS is stopping me. Oh, I can't beat no games. I can't play fair, though you know I probably should. Oh, there ain't no time for achievements till I get perma-banned for good." Thanks. It took me a little bit to cram it into the words, because, I mean, most people will probably get the chorus. The opening verse is a little bit too quick and mostly just talking, but who knows?
That was really good. Like, yeah. I don't know what to say. Like,
Do you know the song?
I don't know this. I know the song, but I don't know the title or the artist.
Sure,
it's
but
it's one of those songs that you just heard before and you get the melody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a relatively recent song. But yeah. Well, so, yep. We'll crack right into it.
Cool.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'll cut into that. Give me a sec, hang on.
Yeah, yep.
Well. So, that was the song of the week. Hopefully you guys know it. If you don't, I mean, you really need to start listening to some radio, because it's a relatively recent song, unlike most of my stuff that's, made before I was born. So, but as always, the Song of the Week competition is going on. So if you know the answer to that song, make sure you send your answer to Real Gamerscore with a 5 instead of an S on True Achievements. So as you all know, the competition is going monthly. So I'm not going to tell you the answers to the previous songs. Go back and listen to those weeks if you haven't answered already. Get those extra entries in, and to be in with a chance to win. And we'll announce that at the end of the month, which I think will be in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, first week of Feb doing it, yeah?
Yeah, so we'll do first or second week of Feb, depending on if Chin remembers.
He's a busy man.
Oh, yeah, he's very busy. He's so busy he couldn't even be on the show today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you can probably hear, it's just Cameron and I today. So we're going to do... I've already named the podcast. It's episode 75, Speedrun 2 Electric Boogaloo.
No doubt this will be the longest podcast that we do.
This will definitely... We're going to go in depth on this stuff. We're going to have some long monologues. We're going to have some tangents. It's going to be great. It'll be just like the OG podcast.
It'll be like reading a Stephen King novel.
Oh, fantastic.
Just go on for way too long with way too much detail.
And then there'll be some weird stuff in the middle that no one talks about. All right, let's get into housekeeping before we get cancelled. So, Discord. So we're all on Discord. Make sure you come join us. realgamerscore.io, I think it is.
Yep.
So yeah, we're all in there. We've got chats going for the podcast itself. We have some just regular chats, a bit of spoiler stuff going on. We've got a Beats channel where you can play all your music and talk about how much you love the Tron soundtrack. That's kind of my beat I've been on at the moment. So make sure you come check us out. We're always down to chat, and we've got opinions, and also really lots and lots of really bad opinions. And if you're lucky, Cameron might organise another night of Secret Hitler for us to play through.
No, that was good.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that last week or last weekend.
Definitely, if you got a chance, always jump into Secret Hitler. I mean, like, what's funner than just accusing your friends of being Hitler?
I mean, more than usual.
Even just being a Nazi.
Yeah, I mean, look. It's not the first time and the last time that I've accused Chin of being a Nazi. But I'm glad that now we can do it in a constructive way.
And then at the very least, we get some really creative pictures that are posted by mistake.
Oh boy!
In the Discord.
Yeah. The meme GIF game is strong.
that you have to kind of explain. And
yes, yeah. We've also got a Patreon. So that's if you, for some reason, want to give us money so we can keep doing the show, keep the lights on, keep the reviews going, that sort of thing. We really appreciate it. We're at Real Gamerscore on Patreon. Make sure you check us out. We do have a competition that we do every month for that, for our Patreon winners, and you can win a ID of Xbox game of your choice when we draw it out. We haven't quite figured out if we draw it for the month that we just did or we draw it for the month that we're in. But either way, someone wins a game, so it's all good.
I mean, just think of it as both months, and then everybody wins.
Yep. Hang on, sorry, I gotta cut that. You got that, sweetheart? Okay, cool.
I didn't even hear anything.
That's right.
It's come through in yours, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll hang on. Let me just mark that down.
Cool.
I'll just do the RTD about it.
Yeah.
So speaking of competitions, we have the random to-do list giveaway, which is another competition for us. Pretty simple thing. If you are involved in the random to-do list, it's a list of 25 locked achievements that you get each month. And the idea is to try and complete as many of them as possible. If you want to enter the competition, you have to unlock just one of them and answer the trivia question to win a game. And the trivia question this month is to send a game with the name Hover or Havoc. Which, there are some games, because apparently, according to, if you've listened to last week's episode, you'll know that Chin didn't check if there was another game with the name Hovership in it. Or Havoc, which apparently, surprisingly, there aren't. So yeah, look. Basically, look for a game with the name Ship in it. It's real easy.
Ship's easy. Hovership, however, is not.
Hovership is not. So just go with Ship. Just ship it up. Yeah, and then earn one achievement, and then if you want to get added to the random to-do list, PM random to-do list, all one word, on TA or Chin Doctor on True Achievements or Discord. They'll get you set up with the list. So we do one each month, and that pulls from your True Achievements game collection, so make sure that's up to date.
Just want to say with that too, Tarragon has put like a lot of new features into the random to-do list, and just send him a message just telling him thank you if you're a part of that contest, because he does put a lot of effort into behind the scenes. Sorry, voice.
100%. Now, Tarragon has been hard at work in the background, working on some new stuff for 2020. It's just come out. So yeah, definitely we've got some new competitive and non-competitive tiers and different difficulty levels. As being the scrub that I am on the non-competitive easy tier. So all my achievements are super simple. I still won't finish my list because it's just not the kind of person I am. But it's a good incentive to get you back into your backlog, or to keep yourself competitive while the games aren't coming out and things are a bit quiet at the moment. Or at least they are for now.
And for some of us who have purchased games upon games in sales and have no idea what we own now, just to give a friendly little reminder, hey, I could reinstall this and actually complete it.
Yeah, I mean, reinstall it at least. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves by completing video games, because we're not about that.
Dip into it for 5 minutes, realize why you've installed it, and then completely quit it forever until you see it again.
That sounds about right. All right, now let's moving through that. We'll crack straight into the news. Cameron, you've been our news hound for today.
Yep.
What have you found?
I've found a few interesting articles. Mostly just from browsing True Achievements. First one is Microsoft is pledging to be carbon negative by 2030, and by 2050 they want to remove all the carbon the company's emitted since it was founded in 1975.
That's quite a goal.
I was going to say, does it have statistics of how much they've actually emitted?
I don't think so. I didn't see it in the article, but carbon neutral, carbon negative by 2030 is a pretty lofty goal. But I like that. One of the things I like in there is that it says pledge rather than aim or want or anything like that.
I mean, they're making it a goal. They're going to actively work towards it, and the fact that they've put $1 billion towards it, a $1 billion fund targeted at climate innovation to accelerate the global development of carbon reduction, capture, and removal technologies.
I mean, it's the way that companies are going to have to go. I mean, it's good that they're coming out and saying that they want to do this and that this is going to happen and all that sort of stuff. And I'm glad it is. I'm just hoping that it's not too little, too late. But hey, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
At this point, when the world's on fire.
Yeah. I live in a country that is literally on fire, so I understand that.
Yeah. Thanks, Microsoft. Now, I mean, they know something about heat reduction, considering how they handled the Red Ring situation.
No.
All right, what else have we got before we get cancelled by Microsoft as well?
All right, so moving on from that, Ubisoft is in a legal battle against denial of service attackers that are doing some not so nice things for Rainbow Six Siege.
So Rainbow Six Siege, you might have heard of it, is a pretty big game. It's one of Ubisoft's biggest live service games, and it really seems to be having legs in a way that I didn't expect it would, because people still play it over and over and over and over.
I mean, when did that release? That would have been 2015, 2016?
Might be 2015. It was. I remember the trailer for it because everyone lost their mind. Yeah, it was the end of 2015.
Yeah, cool. I remember first playing it when I didn't get it straight at launch, but I think I got it a few months after, and servers seemed pretty good. Games were really competitive. It felt like a level, even playing field. But I mean, I think I went in to clean up some ranked achievements 2 years ago, and it was just an absolute mess. And just going through this article, the company that is supposedly behind it, that is being sued by Ubisoft, is SNG.1, and they sell subscriptions up to $300 for a lifetime or $30 per month, which grants a customer access to specialized software that enables them to pull off DDoS attacks on the server. I just don't understand why. I mean, I know that Siege is a big thing. It's up there in the sort of, people are talking about like modern day Counter-Strike sort of thing. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't understand. Like a DDoS, like what are they aiming to achieve, really? I
mean, at the end of the day, it could be just as simple as just trolling other players. All the way to I guess. Not that I can remember. Like, I'm trying to think about how the unlock system works, because you have a certain amount of characters that you unlock. I'm trying to remember what the reward points are.
Yeah,
you have character purchase and all that, where you can buy like VIP points or whatever.
To in-game stuff as well as paid currency, right? They heavily encourage you to buy the characters, but you can unlock them by playing through the game. But there's like 80 characters or something now. They have so many.
I'm not sure about 80. I know there was. I feel there was like 12 starting off.
Yeah, no, but it's like we're 5 years in. Hang on, let me have a look.
I don't think we're at 80 yet. I think we're more along the lines of 30.
There are 52.
52. Okay.
There are 52 different operators apparently.
Jeez.
Jeez. Yeah, so like they just keep adding to it, which makes sense. And I guess, unlike in your regular kind of game where, your regular Ubisoft game where you sell a new game every couple of years and people move from next game to the next, Rainbow Six Siege is very much a platform that people are holding on to and playing. So I guess the denial of service and affecting the online is really hitting Ubisoft's bottom dollar in a much bigger way than it would at a regular game. So I think it does make sense that they're really trying to throw the book at them on this and really get this lawsuit stuff taken down.
I mean, I imagine they'd be trying to set a precedent too before the sequel comes out, which it would be next gen, yeah?
Quarantine. I think Quarantine got delayed till next gen, yeah. But, that's what I mean. I know that, and also I know that Ubisoft is not in a great financial position right now with the last couple of games. They had their, I can't remember if we talked about it, but their financials came out a little bit ago. They had a board meeting or investor meeting, and they basically said that Division 2 didn't do super well for them.
And I don't think Far Cry 5 did well for them either.
Yeah, well, I heard Far Cry 5 did okay.
But not spectacular.
Not spectacular. And then Breakpoint obviously did absolutely terribly. So they've had two pretty bad releases in the last year, and then they basically pushed Quarantine, Gods and Monsters, and Watch Dogs out, and those are looking like they'll be next gen, which is not surprising. I suppose there might be cross gen games at this point.
Yeah. Speaking of the delays, we've had another two big titles get delayed this week as well.
Yeah, well, I've seen three. One of them's not exactly Xbox related, but yeah. So Final Fantasy VII got pushed out till April, which is only a month out. This is for PlayStation only at the moment, but we're waiting on it's a timed exclusive apparently.
Does that mean that we have to wait a year exactly after?
That's kind of that's what I was going to ask. Does that mean that we have to wait till April, or do we have to wait till March? It doesn't make that much of a difference.
Or can they just delay it? Release it on both consoles.
That would be nice. It would be good actually, but I think that Sony had some involvement in it.
Yeah,
getting made. But yeah, so I think the talk was that it got pushed into April, so everyone was like, "Well, now how am I going to have time for Cyberpunk?"
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold,
Cyberpunk gets pushed back to September.
Yeah. So I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, To me, this one is like, obviously it's a big title and there was a lot of people excited for it. Personally, to me, it doesn't seem like much of a deal because it's that launch period for March. There was a lot of titles, like a lot of big titles coming out anyway.
Yeah.
And as long as we have choice, I'm sure that there's one guy, not one guy, but there's one type of person out there that was dead set, wanted to be bros with Keanu, and
look, we all want to be bros with Keanu, but
yeah.
I think it's the old mantra, right? A bad game is bad forever, but a delayed game is only delayed until it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd much rather than delay it. I am a little bit worried about their talk around going to a crunch period to get it finished. Because their announcement afterwards was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to crunch out the next 3 months to get it ready for September." And it's like, "Ooh, I don't know if that's the kind of rhetoric you want to be using right now."
And it was one of those things too. I'm pretty sure they were talking about employees from Rockstar, and it was kind of like, "Oh, our Rockstar employees, they're the best of the best. They know what real crunch is."
Yeah.
And the other guys are just like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, no.
We don't want to be working extra hours.
No, absolutely not. Look, they've said, and they've come out and said that Cyberpunk will be a current gen release. I think they'll have to do cross gen. It's so close to the new console launch. It would make sense for them to port it, at least to the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X. But
yeah,
it is. I can't say I'm surprised that they delayed it because this is what happens to CD Projekt Red games. But do you know when Cyberpunk was first announced?
I want to say 5 years.
It was first announced May 2012.
8 years.
It'll be over 8 years since it's announced.
So this is some Final Fantasy 15 level business.
It's almost that, yeah. Obviously they released The Witcher 3 before after they announced Cyberpunk. That was 2015 or so. So it's not like they haven't released a game since then or anything like that. But this has been in the works for a long time. I don't mind waiting a little bit longer. And honestly, there isn't a lot this year that I'm super, super hyped about.
To me, this year so far kind of feels like a filler kind of year. I'm just going to go for the backlog. I'm just going to pump out as many... even talking about last week, EB EB closing some stores and not accepting trade-ins past some Feb dates for 360 games. I'm clearing out as much as I can now before more servers go down unexpectedly.
Yeah. You and I were talking with one of your mates about trying to get all the Black Ops stuff done and all the old Call of Duties and all that sort of stuff. It's like, well, those communities aren't going to potentially dry up too soon because they're still quite popular, but I think it is going to get harder to get into these games when it was already bad enough when we moved to the One, but when we're going to be across 3 consoles, it's going to be a hard ask. And I've still got a lot of games to finish. I'm still holding strong on my not spending any money on video games except for DLC New Year's resolution. However, it is only the 21st of January, so I have a long way to go with that. We'll see how long it holds for.
It's the 22nd.
Oh, is it really? Oh, it is the 22nd.
You're a day past where you thought. That's all that matters.
We're good. Okay, only a few more to go.
Well,
but
we need to tally at the end of every podcast how many games have been purchased for the year.
Yeah, 0.
Hold some accountability to the host.
Now, look. I will admit that I do have some leftover Xbox credit for my reward stuff that I have been using to pick up a couple of games, but I'm not spending any money on games. That's where I'm drawing the line.
Yeah, to me, it's more so a case of like if I'm selling a game and immediately repurchasing a game off the money earned from that, I think that's fair game.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
If it's me seeing a decade on Xbox, a decade on True Achievements, and being told that I've spent retail cost of 40,000, that's stings a little.
Yeah, a little bit. That's pretty much. So, you want to quickly talk about that?
So TA had this really cool feature where you could basically just get a snapshot of your last 10 years on Microsoft's platform, get a rough idea of your slowest completion, your fastest completion, your retail value at release of games, not your actual spent. So I have a feeling that mine's probably ballpark figure would probably be 15 to 20k.
Yeah, mine's probably about the same. Mine shows 40, but I would say I borrow about half of that because I rented a lot of games, I borrowed a lot of games, like a lot of sales. Yeah, exactly.
Trade-ins, that kind of stuff. What else was there? There was typical stuff like your TA score, your gamer score. I guess like bolding on the months that you achieved a better score, if that makes sense, like a bigger
circle.
Yeah, bigger circle, pretty much.
It was more filled in depending on how much you did that month. So, do you know what the funny thing was?
What?
So this is for a decade, right? So 10 years. Do you want to know what my best month was?
What?
December 2019. It was last month. Last month was my best month in the last 10 years.
I need to pull mine up just to have a...
I couldn't believe it, but I'd owned because I owned like 20,000 Gamerscore last month. Because I pulled out a bunch of Radalika and a bunch of stuff that I was cleaning up.
I gotta see, where was it again? It was... side announcement?
It'll be in your...
That's not it.
It'll be in your messages.
Your best positions in the 2010... Oh, that's leaderboards.
That's leaderboards. No.
Don't need to be told I'm number 1 for racing again. Yeah, you know how much it hurt seeing the slowest completion being Forza Horizon 2 over, I think it was 1,450 days.
Look, you're just lucky you can complete that game. I didn't get the auction house achievement, so I'm stuffed. So I'm never going. My slowest completion was Saints Row 2.
Yep.
Because the online.
How long was that?
Let's see if we can pull it up. It was quite a while. So I played 1,390 games. My value of games was about just under 40 grand, and 40,000 achievements, 1.1 million gamer score. And my slowest completion was Saints Row 2 of 3,532 days.
Where is it? I had it
under the did you find the actual thing?
I'm trying to find it and I just can't see it.
Yeah, it's a side announcement. About 3 days ago. 3 or 4 days.
Genres have been added. No, that's not it. Trust me to lose it.
But yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, it took. To be fair, that game took me a long time because I used to play it for so long. But my fastest completion was Age of Empires Definitive Edition on Windows 10. One whole minute.
Such a great game. Am I right?
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. To be fair, I enjoyed playing the first part of it.
You're gonna start playing too soon, yeah?
Yeah, we'll see about that. I'm 85.71% completion and 1,075 games completed.
Oh,
It's not bad. That's not bad. That's about that's 100 games a year.
What's your rare achievements out of curiosity?
My rare achievements, I have 16,030.
Okay.
So I'd say it's about 2/5.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, but 2/5 of my achievements have been rare ones.
Look, I'm happy. Like, I only started the ShadowlessEdge account upon the Xbox One release, and I mean since then 313,000. I'm happy with that, but
That's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
I mean I've got a kid now too. I'm
Yeah,
sure
so
lots of
that's-
listeners
that's-
have kids.
So that's all downhill from there.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
fine.
say.
Chin really needs to have a kid because he is catching up on me way too quickly.
Yeah.
He needs something. People need to keep telling him to play Rocket League. People need to keep distracting him. Anything you can do to stop him from putting up some score. We love Chin.
Mess around with your spreadsheets.
Yep, whatever you need to do.
Content.
Cause problems in the random to-do list.
Jokes aside. The third article for the news. Nice little See, look, it's great. We don't have Kirby, we don't have Alex. Everything's just off the rails tonight.
Yep, this is and to end it on a real downer.
Yeah. We talk about our favourite topic, loot boxes.
Loot boxes. Microtransactions, everyone's favourite stuff.
Oh. So, with the loot boxes, the UK's mental health director for the National Health Service has called on gaming companies to ban loot boxes from the games in a bid to crack down on gambling addiction risks. So, I mean,
It's more of the same, right?
It's more of the same. Loot boxes are bad. Please stop it. EA, we're looking at you.
Yes, we are. EA, Activision. I mean, to be fair, everyone's dipped their toe into it.
Yeah. I mean...
but the loot boxes do seem to be falling a bit out of vogue recently, though. I mean, outside of that ridiculous NBA 2K20 thing with the literal pachinko machines and stuff, I haven't really seen a lot of the loot box talk anymore. A lot of it's been like the anti-loot box thing, where it's like, no loot boxes, buy whatever you want, give us your money. Like,
it's still sad though that we have to. Like, I'm trying to think of the latest game that mentioned and would probably have been Borderlands 3 to have an article about the fact that they didn't have them.
Yeah, although I mean, Rocket League did take them out, right? That was their one of their big things as well.
Yeah,
with the blueprints.
You'd have to ask a Rocket League expert.
Yeah, true. I mean? Which was the one episode we don't have like 5 of them on.
We don't have any professors. We don't have any doctors.
we just have no idea what we're doing.
We just got like a shadowless figure and a wizard and a wizard.
But yeah, like it is more of the same. I'm glad that they're still talking about it. That it hasn't just gone away. That people haven't just accepted it.
I really think that the first few release titles for next gen will really set the tone going forward. I mean,
I would agree, because Microsoft basically did the same thing with the Xbox One. They basically made microtransactions and loot boxes a pretty, well, not necessarily loot boxes, but microtransactions definitely a very normal thing. Like Rise, Son of Rome was one of their launch titles, and that was riddled with microtransactions.
I'm trying to think. Forza Motorsport 5 would have it as well.
Yes, and then Horizon did shortly afterwards as well. Not huge ones, but they did have some for like maps and stuff. I'm trying
to think if Dead Rising 3 had any.
I don't think Dead Rising. I think it
just paid DLC. I think.
Yeah, they might have had some costumes and stuff, but not like microtransactions as such.
Yeah, nothing loot boxy, just purchasable items. Yeah, but I mean, I reckon it's gonna. I don't see many companies like going. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that if a gaming company's done it now, moving forward with a new release, it's going to be something that's not mentioned or put as close to the norm as possible, so it's not drawing attention to themselves or a negative press.
Yeah, I mean, I am very curious. Like I've talked about in the previous podcast, I'm probably not going to go next gen straight away. I have too many other games to play, and there's no real incentive for me to move over yet. but I am, as we do on the podcast, like we're just going to be very closely watching what the industry does over the next couple of years, because the model is changing, right? Like, how do microtransactions and loot boxes work in a world where all of your games come from Game Pass? Like, how does DLC work in that scenario? We have seen a couple of games that like release the DLC with Game Pass, so it's like you get Game Pass, like Life is Strange 2, for example.
Yeah,
like it's like the first episode was on Game Pass, and they just keep releasing the episodes, even though they're technically DLC.
Then there's a few others though that don't. Like, I guess my latest example would be Forza Horizon 4. Like having the how they did it was having the base game, but then having a purchasable like I guess special edition DLC kind of,
sure.
And having all the DLC packs and everything included separate to the base game. So if you went from if you I guess left Game Pass later on, all you had to do was purchase the base game and you had the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, so like a season pass, like, but after the fact.
But yeah, but basically like a separate kind of season pass thing, but any future content just being part of it.
Yeah, I mean that's it is interesting to see which way they'll go about it. Whether that becomes another tier of Game Pass that includes DLC, or there's like a timed thing where it's like the first 6 months it's not included, but after that it gets included in Game Pass or something along those lines.
I guess Gears 5 would be a good example of that too. Having the it's hard to say with Gears of 5 too, because having that, I guess, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or Xbox Ultimate or whatever the service is called, and having that Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 5 included with that, because the base game's just included with normal Game Pass, isn't it?
Well, I don't 100% remember how it works, but I remember the Ultimate one you could play early if you had Game Pass Ultimate. I don't know if that actually has anything else in it other than maybe some costumes or something, but
yeah, I'd have to have a look into that, but it'd be very interesting if it was a case of, alright, you have your Game Pass Ultimate, you've got your Gold, you got your Game Pass, you got your Game Pass with PC, and then you have your Ultimate Editions of our Gears, our Forza, Horizon 4, our, those kind of games moving forward. Like I guess your Microsoft AAAs.
Sure. I think, and they do sometimes, companies do have retail releases or re-releases with, complete editions or definitive editions. They have the DLC. So there's no reason why Game Pass couldn't just make those the versions and have the DLC included, right? Yeah. But I will be interested, because they do have that incentive of DLC is 20% cheaper if you buy it from a Game Pass game. Is it right? Or something like that?
There's some kind of discount.
There's a discount, right? Like, it's not really actually a pretty good discount, to be honest. It really should be like much higher to encourage people to do it. Because that's money for old rope, to be honest. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what and then when you start bringing things like xCloud in, where xCloud is, the service where you don't even own the games anymore, right? You just stream the games that they have on there, or they allow through their service, potentially. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you could stream the games that you own from your Xbox to a machine, but if you're using their service to stream games, and you don't own the games anymore, should those games include the DLC? Should they not? Like, how does that... Yeah. What around ownership, like, what dictates a complete game when you don't own the game anymore?
Well, they correct me if I'm wrong, but they really haven't set anything in stone with that yet, have they?
No, not at all. It's still very up in the air.
They could pretty much just go, all right. I mean, like, I need to figure out what the go is with mine, because I'm an Xbox insider, but for whatever reason, the app is just not letting me into it. But I mean, that's just me having to sit down for an hour and figure out what the hell is going on. But I honestly would be surprised if they didn't do something similar to, I mean, having that streaming to your Android phone, to your iOS, to whatever, really. I would be surprised if they didn't have it as a Game Pass-esque service.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't really know where it's going to fit. I mean, the talk is that it'll just slot straight into Game Pass Ultimate, because I think the planning was, because there's the two parts. You have the part where you stream your games that you own from your box to a like a phone or like a
so you just
or whatever.
Straight console streaming.
Basically, yes. Yeah, so you're essentially just moving the image streaming the image to another device and playing it from there.
Yeah.
So apparently that's not going to cost anything. That's just going to be a feature.
There's just something cool that you can do.
Yeah,
if you just want to lay in the bed and play.
Exactly. Like if, for example, if Alison's using the TV, and I just want to, I can just put it on a phone or wherever it is, and just play my own. Like I don't have to play like a phone game or a Windows game. I can play my Xbox games on any device, which is pretty cool.
It's a cool feature, but I'm just like, how much am I going to abuse this? Am I going to spend entire weekends in bed?
I mean,
more than likely.
Yeah, well, it's limited by the battery life and your how good your Wi-Fi is, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the idea is that you could use any Wi-Fi network to do that, but it's gonna I don't think I'd get away doing that at work because it would absolutely drain. I would get a call from IT straight away. But ideally, apparently that's going to be free. But using their servers to stream games that you potentially don't own, that's going to be charged for. And whether that's part of Game Pass Ultimate or they do another tier, I mean, it's kind of hard them calling it Game Pass Ultimate and not including everything. But
yeah. I would be very surprised if they didn't do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do it straight away.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
I mean, like, how was it like 6 months beforehand there was speculation going on about Ultimate before it actually got dropped at E3?
Yeah, that's true, and they basically give Ultimate away at this point. But I guess the other thing is that they want to get on the streaming bandwagon before anyone else. Basically, so there's a very big incentive for Microsoft to just say, "Hey, first 6 months of xCloud are included with Game Pass Ultimate. After that, the Game Pass Ultimate goes up in price a little bit, but we'll give you the first 6 months for free, just so you can sink your teeth in, get used to the system, used to how it works, get integrated. Don't think about Google Stadia." Don't think about Sony's stuff. Don't think about any competitor streaming. I mean, no one thinks about Stadia right now.
Yeah, cool.
But
glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, for sure. No one since it came out, no one's thought about it.
There's just one listener here just going, "What the hell is Stadia?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?"
But yeah, and obviously, like Sony are going to potentially move into that stream as well at some stage. They have PlayStation Now. They have like Gaikai, and they do have streaming stuff within the group of companies and technology that they own. So Microsoft has a really big incentive to be the first ones on it with a system that complements the box that you have but doesn't replace it. And I think that's going to be the key thing, is that we're not at the level where we have unlimited Wi-Fi or unlimited 5, 6G, whatever it'll end up being, everywhere for everyone to use all the time. We're still restricted. So we have to, I think that Microsoft's got it right, where the Series X is going to be the main thing, and you're going to be able to stream it to your own devices, and then they're also going to say, hey, when you're out and about, and you if you want to try out these other games, like on Game Pass or whatever the xCloud games end up being, which I'm sure they'll have Game Pass ones on there because it'll make sense, then they'll say, hey, here's an optional extra, you pay a little bit more for it, but here's all this extra stuff that you can do that no other company can do.
Hey, Neomaster's setting up a boosting session while you're away taking care of your daughter.
Yes.
What are you meant to do?
That's fine, I can hit here and hit A to respawn. That's fine, I got this.
Be like when I left when we're doing Borderlands Game of the Year edition.
Yes,
it's like,
absolutely.
And I timed out.
Yep,
like,
just
no!
disappeared. It happens.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think it'll be an interesting future. We've gone massively off topic, but who cares? I think it's an interesting discussion, and I'll be very interested to see how content ownership and how content rights work in the next couple of years with the new consoles.
I feel as time progresses, most things are just going to go more towards the subscription-based service. I mean, like, personally speaking myself, I guess, still being a little bit off topic, but Netflix, for example, how many DVDs do you own these days?
Literally none. I don't own a single one.
Like, the only one...
Same with music, and almost the same with video games at this point, too.
Like, I have my collection of video games just because I see having the physical ones more as a... it's not so much as a... it's more of a show-off kind of thing, I guess.
Sure, yeah, it's a conversation piece, I understand that.
It's like, hey, like I like video games, like it's, you know.
And they look good on the shelf, to be fair. I mean, depends on what games they are. I mean,
look up, see 20 copies of Battleborn.
Yeah, exactly. 20 copies of Battleborn and a Pimp My Ride. It's like, wow, yep, there's the collection.
Oh, actually, speaking of which. Alright, it's right in front of me, but, like, I can't get it out. I do have Pimp My Ride in front of me.
You do have Pimp My Ride? Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that game.
Another one
I love that game. It's awful.
Another one I just need to go back to. But yeah, pretty much like we're going. Well, I mean, most of us are progressing towards a. I want to say like a physical media-less society.
Sure, but it's fully digital, and I think we pretty much hit that almost fully digital with the Xbox One. Like I started the Xbox One buying discs, and I still have a few of them. But I certainly the last 3 or 4 years I've just been almost 100% digital. Because like, the deals got good enough, the having a home Xbox somewhere else and that sort of stuff, the benefits of having a digital copy outweighed the retail value of keeping a physical one.
And that's the thing for me. Like usually it would be a case of like I'm kind of like a bargain hunter when it comes to this kind of stuff because. I mean, if EB's having a sale on like $5 discs for certain games, then I'll go and grab them. But I feel like start of the gen, a lot of the sales were pretty. I don't want to say pretty average because they were horrible, and I mean, certain individuals would region swap just to get better prices.
Yeah,
certain individuals, and now we're gone to a point where, I mean. Microsoft frowns upon that, but the sales are a lot more beneficial these days.
Yeah, and they did, like, most of the games tend to come out of all the regions, because that was the other thing, is that a lot of games, when the Xbox One first started, weren't available in the New Zealand, Australia region. Still, like, especially the small indie ones. There are definitely still some that don't.
Yeah.
But...
like, there's so many indie ones that don't release in Australia, which is kind of... frustrating at times.
Really unfortunate. I'm hoping that as we move to that more digital future, that it becomes easier for those kinds of things to happen. But I think we're moving past even the digital ownership to the digital subscription, right? Because like there is no real incentive in the way that we play games, and especially people who listen to the podcast play games. A lot of them, we don't own the games to own them. We own them to play them. So. It doesn't actually... I realize it doesn't actually matter to me if those games get taken out of Game Pass when I'm done with them, because I never play those games ever again anyway.
The only negative aspect to it that I can think of is the fact that you might have... I'm trying to think of an example for this, but I really can't think of one. Where you might complete the base game for something, leaves Game Pass, lo and behold, hey, we've just packed out these free DLCs... Like, think of something like Human Fall Flat if it left Game Pass by now. And getting all those levels.
Or the perfect example, Bridge Constructor Portal, which I spoke about on the podcast, and did leave Game Pass and then did get a bunch of DLC.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is the problem. I think as we move forward into the subscription thing, and if DLC starts getting included, games will be in there for longer. The deals will get better because essentially it'll be pretty much the only way to play games eventually. Yeah. So in that case, it has to become more robust. The libraries have to become bigger, and they have to stand for longer, if not indefinitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else to add here? I feel like we've pretty much covered all bases.
No, I think we just about rinsed it. Let's move on to the GTS roundup. Which, speaking of which, got completely rinsed because of all the people signing up for this new feature to show off all your Xbox stuff over the last decade on True Achievements has essentially crashed all the scanners. So there's no new updates for GTS. They've done a period extension, so people have an extra week to play through the games and try and hit those leaderboards. And we'll be back with an update next week once we know what's going on.
I was going to say there's just one person just making 50,000 profiles. Just I can't get it this week. I needed to.
I'm too far below the cutoff.
There's no chance of catching up. Just buying time.
He had a chat with the Rainbow Six Siege DDoS guys. Alright, so...
Reviews, yeah?
Yeah, so reviews, that popular feature that we've been running every week for the last while, right?
We're reviewing the last podcast we were on, right?
Yeah, the last podcast. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was some really good
I think
hosts.
it was short, to the point, you know? There were some quality jokes on there. That Cameron guy, he's got a good sense of humour.
I mean, sometimes, but...
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be positive here. I'd say an 8 out of 10 with rice.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, our segment on the Rocket League functionality and all that by Kirby, it was just way too much, but...
Yeah, like, you know, we probably have to get a bit tighter on the editing with those bits. I mean, like this bit here, like, Kirby's actually here, but we've actually I'm gonna go through and edit out every time that he speaks. But it's really good for me to get my editing chops in here so I can get some practice.
It's like, look, do you want to, you know, an hour to 2 hour podcast centered around gaming and achievements and, I guess, stuff going on in the industry? Or do you want, like, a 5 hour podcast with all that plus 3 to 4 hours of Rocket League?
Yep, and then occasionally drowning children, apparently. All right,
please tell me some choice individuals are not listening to this.
Oh, I really hope not.
Oh, jeez.
Come on, Cameron. No one listens to this. So, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. I'm going to go first, because screw you.
Fair point.
I've been playing The Council. So I talked about this last week. It's a narrative-based game that's episodic in this sort of Telltale vein, but with a bit more of the puzzly, wander-around, point-and-click stuff.
Yep.
That game's great. I think it's fantastic. I'd only finished the second chapter when we talked about it last week. I got all the way through it.
Yep. That
game goes places. Like, it gets to, like, towards the end of chapter 4, and you're like, wait a minute, what is going on here?
If you had to tease it, like, with a single sentence, like, just tagline the game, how would you?
Let's just say... the end of the game involves trying to convince a bunch of people to come over to your side to agree with you on something.
Yep.
And then you end up in a mindscape going back in time. Not exactly, but you go into a guy's mind, and you know what? Like, that's not even the biggest thing that happens. Like, that's just something that happens towards the end of the game. A lot of weird stuff happens in this game.
Yep.
But my favorite thing is that the conceit for the game is very weird, because it's like, okay, you have, like, all of these leaders from all over Europe showing up on this weird island out of nowhere with no security, no thing. All these horrific things happen. No one cares. Everyone's like, okay, cool, whatever, we'll just keep going. We gotta keep having this conference.
Yep.
It's like, and you're like, what is going on? Who are these people? Are they crazy? And then it turns out at the end, yeah, basically, like, they even call out the fact that, like, oh, hey, there was okay, spoilers. Hey, there was a murder, quote unquote. No one cares. No one's like, man, I gotta get off this island before I get murdered. It's like, no, it's like, oh, well, I guess you probably should figure out who did that. Like, what? What is going on? And, like, it's, yeah. And, like, there is some stuff that happens towards the end that I could not believe they went in that direction. But, it all ties together.
Is it going to be one of those games that you look back in a year and, like, just browsing for the list and just like, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a trippy experience.
It was it's a really good game. It's definitely janky around the edges. Like, you can tell it was made on a budget. And the voice acting is weird. And the fact that your two people are from France... And there's 4 French people in the game, and they all have wildly different accents. Like, one of them is clearly an American, the other one is like a British person. Like, it's
like,
so
oui.
Yeah, no, it's so bad. It's really bad. But the walkthrough for it on TA is really good if you want to be a super completionist like I am, and just try and get all the endings or try and get all the stuff and all the pieces to puzzle together what's going on.
Yep.
It goes places. The last couple of episodes are a bit shorter. Like, I got done with them in a couple of hours. The first episode is the big one, that like 5 to 6 hours. But you could probably get through it in maybe maybe 10 to 12 hours, somewhere around there, to finish the whole thing. I would highly, highly recommend it. And it's been on sale quite a few times. If you see it on sale again, pick it up.
Definitely got to check it out.
Yeah. Especially if you're into narrative games. I also played Rocket Riot. I finished that up on the phone, so I'm pretty much done with phone games at the moment. I know I say that most weeks, but it was a bit of a grind towards the end, but that's always a fun game. Just shooting flying pirates and soldiers and stuff.
Just wait till your partner just starts up a few more.
Oh, I'm not going to snap that. I'm going to snap the phone in half so she can't start any more Angry Birds or anything like that. Not letting her.
Next thing you know, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, let's play Angry Birds."
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah, no, Angry Birds Rio. Yeah, none of that.
Yeah. No.
Okay. I also played through a game called Undead Horde that was on sale a few weeks back. It's a 10-ton game, so they also did things like Spellspire. They did that Tesla versus Lovecraft game.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
they have some interesting. They have an interesting selection of games. Some are good, some not so much. This one's a pretty good one. It's a so you're a necromancer raising zombies, and the whole thing is that a millennia ago you were trapped in a jar, and a chicken pecks on the jar and releases you, and then you basically kill people and raise them as zombies to go and kill other people. And basically the whole thing, it's kind of like the game Overlord back on the 360 days, where you have a bunch of minions. You're not very powerful. You have spells and stuff, and you can do some damage, but you're pretty glassy. Like you only take a couple of hits. Whereas your minions go through and just swarm stuff. So you just have an attack button. You just press it, and your minions just attack things. So it's all about zombies and skeletons and stuff. The game's pretty mindless, pun intended. But it's not very long. It's not terribly difficult. The story, it's got a sense of humor to it. You talk to skeletons in cages and they give you advice, and all of them are really punny names. You find a skeleton called Yorick, of course, Horatio, and there's a guy called T-Bone. It's bad. It's puns all the way down.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, there's not a lot to the game. It's kind of there's some loot, there's some, you get equipment and spells and that sort of stuff. But basically it's raise an army, attack the enemies, kill the enemies, destroy their buildings so they can't respawn, and then when they kill your enemies, when the enemies die and your guys die, raise the enemies up to use them to fight with you. And then there's a lot of jokes about chickens. They got a real obsession with chickens. But it was on sale a while back. It's an easy game. It took me 5 or 6 hours. It's good for a weekend. Speaking of quick games, not necessarily good though, I also played The Story Goes On, which is a roguelike that Chin played a while back, and I was talking to him about. Relatively simple, but it's almost not... there is some progression, I guess, but it's very light on the roguelike part, because when you die, nothing carries over. You can unlock a couple of new characters, and you can finish a couple of dungeons that stay completed once you finish them.
Yeah.
But that's about it. You lose all of your abilities, all the items you pick up, all of the upgrades that you've got, and all of your progress. You go right back to the beginning. I mean, I'm sure Chin would, if he was here, would argue that that's 100% what a roguelike is, but I've played ones that are a lot more... They have a lot more to carry over. It's basically, it's a top-down shooter, so it's very basic. It's a shooter plus slasher.
Yep.
But you get overpowered really quickly. And so the idea is that you're in a storybook with a author who is really bad and just has writer's block. So you're just going through all of his discarded ideas, which is their excuse for making 6 levels that are one's a desert level, one's an ice level, one's a spooky forest, one's a jungle, and one's a green, nice field, and then there's one that's the moon. And so you just run through it over and over and over again. And so when you run through it and finish it the first time, it unlocks a dungeon in each of those five or six levels. And so you do the first one, and it's an optional area that has a boss in it, and you do a certain puzzle or whatever, and that unlocks that page. Gesundheit.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
And so you unlock a page, and you just need to unlock all 5 pages. But it's got a weird thing where, obviously, once you get to the end of the run, you can restart the run and go back to one of the previous levels that you were on. But the further back you go, the more of your abilities you lose. Which I figured is the wrong way round, right?
Yeah.
So you could go from, like, the Dark Forest is the second to last level. You could jump straight back to the Dark Forest and do just the Dark Forest and then the Moon and then be finished with it again, and you lose a couple of abilities or items that you picked up. Or you can go back to the first one and lose almost all your abilities, which I feel like is backwards. But nevertheless, the game is super easy. It's just really kind of grindy. There's an achievement for dying 20 times. I died maybe 6 times the entire game, so it's not very difficult.
Yeah.
It has some serious Undertale vibes, though. Okay. So there's a lot of meta stuff. There's like the final bit where you collect all the pages turns into like very much like the end of Undertale if you've played that. With the screen getting all weird and stuff happening, and like because obviously it's about a guy's written ideas and you collecting his like screwed up pages that he's thrown away. There's a lot of narrative stuff around, like, oh, here's a sketchbook that you went into, and here's one of the boss fights is some weird creature that he just happened to draw on one of the borders with like 5 arms and like a messed up face, and he's like, well, this is the worst thing I've ever created, so now you got to fight it.
I don't know why I'm just picturing the episode of SpongeBob.
Yes.
That's exactly how I'm picturing
pretty
that.
much, yeah, almost identical. So the game's easy. It's fun, I guess. There's not a lot to it. I'm glad it was short because I'm not really much of a roguelike guy. I'm pretty bad at them, to be honest.
Just not memorable.
Not really. Like it's a very much like it's a 5 out of 10, very milquetoast.
Yeah.
Just not very forgettable. What is also relatively forgettable is Tekken 7. So, this got into Game Pass recently, so I jumped on it, and I've heard it was quite simple. And, man, there is not a lot to that game, is there?
I mean, like, I'm only missing the online tournament, and that's just lack of finding people, but, I mean, if I can do it...
Yeah, me too, exactly. Like, I'm awful at fighting games. Like, I cheesed my way through pretty much the entire thing, and, like, I only had trouble on a couple of fights. It's fine. Like, it's a good fighting game, I can tell. Like, it's very well made. It's just totally not my kind of game.
Yeah.
But you can get it done in like 7-8 hours. I got it done. There is definitely some grind in there. You need to grind out one of the treasure battles. You got to do like up to 50 or 60 of those.
How many did you do? Because TA was saying like around the 100 win mark, and I'm like
80 to 100. I got it done in like 60.
Yeah, I was like at 45.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, I think might have been closer to 50. Actually, yeah, 50, 60. Like I mean, like if you're good at it and you or like you can cheese it well enough, then it's. I think the more you get up, the faster you rank up. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But 100 seems like way higher than it should be. I don't know if they've changed it since the guide came out. But
yeah, don't know.
Easy enough game. And then sort of the main thing I've been playing this week is ShadowlessEdge Legends, which you talked about last week.
How do you find this? Because I it wasn't a memorable game by any stretch of the imagination, but for the amount that I played it, I found it enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it's actually a very well-made, tight experience. Because I heard it was a Zelda-esque game, and I was expecting like a Link to the Past level of like 8 dungeons plus a dark world and like a bunch of other. Like I was expecting like a 20-30 hour.
No,
like,
bare bones basic,
super bare bones basic, but like really tight and well executed. Like there's not a lot of fluff. There's only 9 screens basically plus the dungeons. The dungeons aren't too difficult. The boss fights are a little tricky.
It's more so just figuring out what you need to do. And as soon as you do that, they're pretty easy, but...
Yeah, the third boss fight is the one that I'm not a huge fan of, with the ghosts that explode.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also not a huge fan that you have to play through it twice, once on heroic mode.
Yeah. And then the second playthrough, you have no idea how squishy you are.
Oh, yeah, you die so fast because you take double damage, and then you take double damage again once you get through the second dungeon. Because the guy's like, hey, we're going to make the game harder for no reason. You're like, oh, thanks. So, the other problem with the heroic mode is that a lot of the achievements for playing through the second playthrough, and some of them are for collecting all of the items, and then also for upgrading everything to max, which is, no matter what, like, the game is not that long, there's not that much to it. Like, that is definitely a grind. Like, Did you
just do the barrels method?
I'm still working on it, so
Okay.
I'm I'm at the third boss, and I got the arrows from the third dungeon and went straight to the fourth one, so I could level up and get some more stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm basically towards the end of the game. I'm just gonna have to grind out the barrels and just try and get the equipment and stuff. I'm doing fishing to get the coins because you can get like if you're lucky, you can get 1,000 coins straight away from a silverfish or diamond fish. So,
and I mean, even the gold ones are pretty easy to get, and they're $100 coin a piece.
Exactly. So it's not too bad. It's just that the materials part, there's too many upgrades and too much material grind for not enough game.
Yeah,
I think is the problem.
I think the worst thing about the game is just finding the hidden chest at the very end. Have you done any work towards that? Because there's an achievement tied to it, finding all the chests in the game, and there is a guide out there, but I think it's a PS4 guide.
Okay. No, I hadn't thought about that actually, because I still have one more set of arrows to get, and I haven't finished all the dungeons yet, so I haven't got all the chests.
Yeah.
So I figured that it was just going to show up, but if there's a hidden chest that I've missed with something in it,
there's ones that they won't appear unless you get close proximity.
Yeah, so I've got. I think I have all of those, but like I'll find out when I get to the end of the game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm hoping that I'm probably just going to smash through as much of it as I can, and then just finish up the grind either tomorrow or later this week. But I think it's a good game. It overstays its welcome just a little bit too long. But I'd be interested to see if they did like another one, because it kind of leaves the door open for a sequel.
He's working on a current one at the moment. I think there was a demo meant to be out in March. It's a one-person dev.
Right.
I'm actually part of the Discord server for it because I was just messing around. But, I mean, he's worked on that, and he's worked on, Valseria, is it?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to think what that released on. I think it was his other game.
I thought I recognized some of the music.
Where,
but I can't be
from?
sure. It was like another similar type of game. I'm trying to remember where I heard it from. It was like the first cave that you go into. The music was like I feel like it might just be that I just remember incorrectly, but I was like, hang on a minute, like I thought I knew what it was.
That's Valseria where.
Oh, okay, right.
That one.
Yeah, never heard of it. Okay, cool.
But yeah, one person dev. I reckon for that type of game though, like that's pretty incredible. Yeah,
it was good. Like I'm really glad that I played it, and because I was a little bit hesitant, but your recommendation, it is good. It's really good. But yeah, so bit of cleanup this week. Do you want me to?
I mean, like
I
own a dishwasher.
Yeah.
So
it's
fine.
Okay. It's fine. We'll just leave it in, of course.
I was gonna say I'll turn it off. You just
we'll just. That's fine. We'll cut this.
Entertain the people.
Chen, you'll cut this, right?
He's gonna leave it in.
He's definitely gonna leave it in.
Done.
So I'm really glad that they made it the way they did, and I'm glad that I got a chance to play it. And I think that like if they're going to do a sequel or whatever it ends up his next project, I'm definitely going to be looking into it because I was very, very impressed.
Yeah.
But it was basically clean up this week. So I got 4,795. It was maybe 4,800 or so because I earned a couple of achievements. But yeah, so not too bad. I think we're going to finish this month off strong. Got another week to go, and I'm going to try and get another couple of games done for next week. But what have you been up to?
I was just going to say his release date for the sequel is 2021.
Oh, okay, right. So we've got a bit of a wait.
Yeah. I think he was working on a demo for sometime this year, but yeah, me. So yeah, I played games this week, as I do sometimes when I have time.
All right, Mr. Brightcliffs, tell us what you've been playing.
So, I mean, after last week's podcast, I just finished the last few achievements I needed from Siberian, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right again, but anyway. Red Alaka, I finished it pretty quickly after the last podcast. Not anything memorable. 2D side scroller. I think it was just getting to the third boss was the last thing. I mean, it's a little bit harder than your typical Ratalaka games, but I mean, that's like a 2 or a 3 out of 10 compared to a 1. So,
right. So some challenge.
I mean, like some challenge, maybe like 1 or 2 more deaths, but I think it just took me half an hour. But yeah, no, that was some nice easy points going off your maybe it was Kobe's recommendation actually. Sorry,
both of us, because he recommended it the previous week, and then I played it last week.
Yeah, so played the Adventures of Alana Temple. I think I did this like at 4 a.m. in the morning for some reason, but just couldn't sleep. Followed the guide to get the, I guess the assist mode stuff on. Nice and relaxing, just to knock out a few achievements. Just having a hefty amount of Gamerscore coming my way. And yeah, it's just... How old is this game?
It only just came out like a year ago.
But like, is it based on an original?
No. So the guy just made it like an old...
Okay.
He made it like an old Lode Runner or that sort of side-scrolling, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just think like being able to swap between the monitors and all that in the game is pretty cool.
Yeah, it obviously has quite a big reverence for the old kind of PC Spectrum, like side-scrolling lo-fi platformers of the 80s and like late 70s.
But yeah, no, that look, I mean, grab it during a sale, which I'm pretty sure it is during this week actually. But you know, nice easy 2K boost to your game score for about 2-hour completion. Moving on from that, my favorite licensed video game. Go around to doing Ben 10 again, and oh my god, like, just why?
Yeah, I've had this sitting. I finally caved and bought it a few weeks back when it was like 50% off. It
must. I dare say it's just going to be one of those glitches that was just my luck.
Of course.
But yeah, I spent most of the weekend working on the achievements. I mean, I think there's 6 levels in the game, which roughly about 15 minutes each long. A bit of grinding in that, but I think I'd gotten up to chapter 5, so I did those 2. Got the achievements for completing those levels. Got the achievement for completing the game. And I don't know what happened, because I got this glitch. How do I explain this? There's 3 achievements in the game for dealing with the boss on each of the even levels, so 2, 4, and 6, and defeating them without taking any damage. The chapters do not have any checkpoints. I mean, like, if you die, it's like you basically go back to the same position, but if you're working on a boss trying to take no damage... I mean, if you die, or if you take any damage, it's restarting that whole thing again.
Oh,
so, slogging another 10 to 15 minutes, getting through the level, getting up to the very top, and then having the same thing. Weatherhead Prime is the final boss of the game. For whatever reason, every single time I went up there, because the last level to this game is basically just going through, like, floating platforms, like a weather storm kind of level. Getting to the very top, getting to the end boss, and then just taking damage for no reason. I could not deal enough damage to the boss before dying every single time, so it was like...
So you just, you hit with a poison attack or whatever it was, just out of nowhere.
It was like there's no indication of being hit, no indication of anything causing it. It's like your health is on a timer, was this glitch, and it was so frustrating. Because I did rinse and repeat it about 3 times just to make sure it wasn't anything with me. Did a fresh install of the game. Unlocked another achievement before it, which I don't know if it affected it or not, but somehow managed to fix it. Look, if you run into the same glitch, you're going to have a bad time. It's easily going to add a few unnecessary hours. Like, I'm okay with grinding for achievements. I'm not okay grinding for achievements where I know it's just meant to work.
Yeah. No, that's not what you want to be doing for sure.
It's just very discouraging, but I mean, after the fresh install and all that, I woke up Sunday morning. I had, I think, 4 achievements left, which was 2 achievements tied to defeating the bosses with no damage. Got the Beehive one done first go. Happy with that. Got Weatherhead Prime done like straight after that. Happy with that. And then it was just there's a difficult one where you have to get a bigger sized gentleman clown and throw him at 5 smaller enemies.
Oh, okay.
Managed to pull that off and then got the completion. But I mean, just one of those games that's it just makes you spend too much time in it for the sake of it, and just a bit of a grind. But I mean, if you don't run into the same glitch, probably around the 10-hour mark. If you do run into that glitch, or if you just don't have any luck getting doing attacks to a final boss with no damage, you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Moving on from that, I played probably an hour or two of A Walk in the Dark, which is a nice little 2D side-scroller. Closest comparison I can think of is I guess kind of like a visual style of Limbo, but like a playing style of something close to like Super Meat Boy.
Oh, okay. Is it like super difficult?
It's not. I don't think all the levels are difficult. Like, I started getting up. I think there's 100 levels in the game. Started getting to like the 40s, 50s, and it started amping up quite a bit. But I mean, it's not one of those games that has an achievement for completing it in one go. I think the most difficult thing is getting 100% completion of levels, getting these like little sprites or dandelions or whatever they are.
Sure.
But I mean, it's definitely completable. It's just one of those things that just practice is going to make perfect. But nowhere to the extent of something like Super Meat Boy. Ticket to Ride. Have you ever heard of this board game?
Yes, it's a very, very popular board game.
Okay. Never heard of it. Why did I buy this?
I don't know. I honestly, if you've never heard of Ticket to Ride, there's no reason to play it.
I think I just saw it in sale and just like, oh yeah, it must be like you just need to work out a route or something. It must be a puzzle game. No. Just no. Why? So I looked up a few guides to try and get my head around the board game, and then I realized the AI is super difficult.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't like this. I don't like this. So it was quickly put back on into the background, and then I played Metro 2033 because that was something that I enjoyed.
Love that game.
So I think I had like 8 achievements pretty much left. I went back and did some of the frontline missions, like getting all the killing every enemy.
Yep.
Freeing the Reds and killing the Nazis.
Yep.
Some like weapon achievements. I think the only things I need to do now are collectibles and then Survivor Run.
Okay. Are you playing the Xbox One version? The Redux?
The Redux, yep. Okay. So yeah, just got to get the collectibles, which I don't think I've got many left, and then just do the Survivor Run. And maybe some money collecting. Or some ammo collecting. Yeah, so as soon as I do this, I might actually just keep on playing and do Last Light and Exodus. Because Exodus, I don't know, I've had the feeling to play it for a while, and it's been on Game Pass, but I don't know whether I should just start it now.
I've been in a similar boat, to be honest. Because I've played the hell out of 2033. I played it so many times now because I did it. I did the 360 version.
Yep.
Both versions on the Xbox One with the Redux, and then I did I just finished the Japanese version recently.
Yep. I mean, I feel like if I skip Last Light and go to Exodus, I'll probably enjoy it. But then if I play Last Light, Exodus will leave Game Pass by the time I complete it.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I know that I was going to wait till Exodus's season pass stuff came on sale anyway before I jump into it.
I was going to say, I think they're making a movie for it too.
Or they've been working on. They've been working on trying to get that up and running for ages. The book is actually pretty good. Metro 2033 is pretty good.
Yeah, I need to read the book. I've always said it ever since getting it on 360, but I just never got around to it. I remember walking past an EB and having that as an anticipated title. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully I can get this done. Hopefully I can just rush and right through it.
Okay, you can leave now. That's fine. You can rush and right off this podcast.
Okay.
I'm gonna put some tariffs on you, some sanctions.
Just keep me in my little corner in Twitter.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You can go hang out with Snowden.
I mean, moving past that, we did a little bit of Remnant last night.
Oh yes, yeah, I had a good time with that.
Yeah, just making my way, just getting a little bit of progress, annoying both Matt and Brad.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a bit like herding cats, except there was one cat. And he
It's
kept
just
running away.
so many times you just got to walk past a crystal and just be like, oh, I didn't see it there.
I mean, to be fair, like there's a lot to see in that game, and like I think
not crystals.
The game really did itself a disservice by making that first area the first area, because that post-apocalyptic Earth area is really boring.
Yeah.
But then, like, the second thing, like, we jumped into, like, it was... The game is basically Stargate. Like, that's pretty much what we discovered, right? Is that you go to a different world with, like, alien bugs, with, like, a desert, and then, like, you know, Brad is calling out, like, hey, look, there's a Jaffas, and also, like, it's basically Star Trek. I'm super about it.
And I was going to say, the whole time, like, I haven't watched any of these shows in, like, years upon years. Probably since I was a teenager, and I've just got like no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? What's a Jaffa? But I was gonna say,
I'd just say SG1 is where Stargate's at. Everyone needs to watch that if you haven't seen it.
I was gonna say, most memorable thing is just you walking off a cliff yesterday.
Oh yeah, look, I didn't walk off a cliff. Okay.
Okay.
I clipped through the ground that was supposed to be there. It was a platform that raised up. You couldn't even jump off the side. It wouldn't let you.
Don't just blame the devs. They've probably done multiple hours of crunch just to get this game into a playable state. And
look, I saw what they did with Darksiders 3. Okay, they definitely didn't do any crunching. But
it's there. It's finished. It's somewhat playable.
Yeah, like look, the game has a couple of bugs, but I think for a Dark Souls mixed with Gears of War, I think that game's great. I'm really enjoying it.
Like, I haven't played a good co-op game in quite a while, and just like working through that. I mean, as long as we can set a night to actually play it and get it done that works with everybody's schedules, it'll be good.
We'll be done before it goes out of Game Pass, hopefully.
Yeah. We'll get to like 800, 900 Gamerscore, and then just
never
be like, hey, you're going to have to purchase it now.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, they're definitely going to release DLC for that. I know that. They're already working on it.
You're going to be next with Neverwinter?
Oh, wow, yeah. If it turns out being the next Neverwinter, I'm never going to let Brad live it down.
I was going to say, this is entirely Brad's fault. Do not blame it on me.
100% Brad's fault. Alright, what else have you been playing?
Tekken 7.
Oh, yep, I've heard about that.
I mean, just got to get the online tournament done. I mean, you and Kirby can just find an online tournament like that, and then it's just like...
Yeah, I nearly won as well. I was being super cheesy, but...
I found players last night, and it was like red bar 1.
Oh, yeah,
like,
of course.
I mean, like... And it was just like, hey, yeah, I'll let you win. Just absolutely trashes me.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just like, yeah, cool, thanks.
It's Game Pass, so now's the best and probably the only time to really do it. But you only need 3 other people to do a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, like, where can I just muster up 3 people to?
No, I don't know. We have
that haven't completed the game.
Oh, yeah, good luck.
And then, I mean, moving on from that, me and Kiku were having discussions about doing Dead Island Riptide. So then I'm just like, he's just like, yeah, install, we'll get around to it. So I opened up Dead Island, and I unlocked an Gamerscore achievement.
Nice.
Didn't I?
Good job.
So now my achievements aren't a multiple of 5 again.
So you better go back and finish them. With Riptide, is that going to be 360 or Xbox One?
Xbox One.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll probably go back and... It just... I mean, hearing the news about Dying Light 2 being delayed as well, I'm kind of like, I want to go back and play a bit of these. Because when Dying Light came out, I loved that game.
I love the idea of that game.
The story wasn't anything to...
No.
But I found the gameplay for the most part was really good. I'm a bit salty about the fact that I think one of my achievements is glitched.
Which one?
I think it might not be with the DLC now. It's the one with, I want to say, killing 15 of Rise Men.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. I think when you get to the end game, it's just impossible to complete.
Right.
And then it just wasn't working when I reset the game. But I don't know if it's a case of I might be able to go back with the following DLC and get it done now. It's just I haven't bothered. But yeah, that's left me of a great Gamerscore of 3,418. Emphasis on the 18.
Well, I guess you need to go back and finish up Dead Island then. Good luck with that.
Got to finish up Dead Island. Got to finish up Freeze. That's going to be fun.
Oh yeah. We need to jump on Borderlands pre-sequel at some stage as well.
Oh yeah, true.
All right. So now that we've thoroughly exhausted all the games that we've played, let's get into all the games that we will probably play at some stage because they're all on a ridiculously good sale.
Oh, there's so many.
It's a lot. It's a hell of a sale.
Why? Like, is there any special sale going on? Or?
I have no idea. I don't think so. Like, I think they're just like, hey, you know those games that you want? Here they are for like 50% off. Like, so many good stuff. Like, I own most of these games, so I don't feel too bad. But like, it's
similar to a Steam sale though.
Yeah, like very much so. Like, you could easily spend like $200 here
and play one game.
Yeah, playing well. Deponia. So, just going through Gamerscore games, 1111 Memories Retold, which has Elijah Wood in it, is 75% off, $7.49. Adventures of Bertram Fiddle 2, A Bleaker Predicament, which is a great title. I really enjoyed playing through the first one, and I actually had this. I used some of my Xbox credit to pick this up actually because I really wanted to play it.
Yeah.
Albedo Eyes from Outer Space, 80% off, $2.79. It's a terrible, terrible game.
2 to 3 hour completion though, yeah?
Yes, very quick. But it's very, very bad. Ascendance First Horizon, 35% off, $3.89. It is a first-person platformer in a similar vein to Refunct, although it's a bit more chill than Refunct. You don't have to rush around as much.
No time.
No, there's no real time stuff. You just kind of... There's a couple of little time bits, but like most of it's pretty simple.
Cool.
Beyond Eyes, 80% off, $2.99. So that is a game where you play as a blind girl, and you have to try... I think it's like you're finding your lost cat or something.
Finding your cat, dog, pet,
turtle,
rock.
Pet of some description. Yeah, it was okay. Like, it's a bit...
It's really good visually.
Oh, yeah, ironically. Yes, visually it's great. But the concept isn't actually... It doesn't really carry super well. Like, you kind of get bored of the idea, and it doesn't really do much with the idea of it. Quickly.
It's a short completion.
Yeah, it is a quick game. Black the Fall, 60% off, $5.99, is a pretty good side-scroller. Side-scroller puzzler, like similar to sort of Limbo or Inside, that sort of side-scroller puzzler where you got to move boxes and try and avoid traps and that sort of thing.
I'd say a bit more puzzly than Limbo.
Definitely more puzzly than sort of actiony, but definitely well worth a look. Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, 50% off, $9.99, so finally an agreeable price. Really easy completion. You can literally War of Attrition it. You just can't lose. You just keep playing through it until you beat it. Coffin Dodgers, 65% off, $4.19. That is a
arcadey kind of racer.
Yeah, it's like a kart racer. It controls quite badly. It takes a little while to get used to. Like when I first started it, I did not like it at all. But by the end of it, you get a hang of it. It's very, very simple. You do have to play through it twice, which is a bit annoying, but it's a relatively quick completion. I think 5-6 hours maybe tops.
Yeah.
Creepy Road, 40% off, $7.79. First time I've ever seen this. Apparently, it's a side-scrolling like run and gun game.
I've honestly never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. I don't really know much about it, but it looks okay. It looks just kind of basic.
Looking it up. 3 to 4 hour completion. Oh, yeah, I've seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
It released back in March last year.
Oh, okay, right. So it's relatively recent.
Yeah.
Crypt of the Serpent King, everyone's favorite, 50% off for $1. That terrible, terrible first-person dungeon crawler. I kind of love it, but it's absolutely awful. Decay the Mayor, which is the original Decay game. We reviewed the second one. Or is that the first one? I don't know, but I think it's the second one. 50% off $4.99, so that's a first-person puzzler. Point and click. Very, very simple. Demetrios the Big Cynical Adventure, 80% off for $2. That's, again, another sort of point and click puzzle game where you got to do mini games and find cookies, and there's a lot of memes. There's a lot of real bad humor in that game. Deponia Collection includes all 4 of the Deponia games, 65% off $13.99. If you haven't got any of them, that's probably the way to go. I already own 1 or 2 of them, so, and it's a little, yeah.
I've never. What are these games?
So Deponia, again, more point and click adventures.
Oh yeah.
It has a really nice art style to it. I quite like it. The humor's pretty good.
4K, like for total cost of games.
Yeah. So it's 1,000 each. Yeah.
Okay, so it's worth picking up then for $14.
Definitely, yeah. So I think it's a good deal at the moment because when it came out, it was a bit expensive. The release schedule for that was very weird. The second one was the first one that came out, I think, and then the fourth one, and then the third and first. I don't know. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
I may pick it up anyway. Fair Effect Sedna, 85% off, $2.99. So looking at the TA ratio for it, it's quite high. The game is very, very simple. Most people just have dived it. It is a very easy tactical shooter, where essentially you move units around and have them shoot enemies. There's a couple of tricky points, but the game's short. It's easy. There's a couple of annoying mini games, but you can smash through it super quickly.
Oh, geez, that's decent discount.
Yeah, it's a good deal too. 85% off for $3. Forgotten Anne, 60% off, $7.99. Side-scrolling platformer with some interesting narrative things around objects coming to life and whether you kill them or not. It's interesting. It's a bit rough around the edges. Like you could tell, the platforming is not super intuitive, but the story's interesting. There's some actual choice affecting gameplay and that sort of stuff. I would use a guide, though, because there are quite a few collectibles and things you can miss. Gnome's Garden 1 and 2. I would not recommend them. I think these games are terrible. So
any host that would recommend them is clearly delusional.
Yeah, any of those games actually are just absolutely awful, and I hate every single one of them.
Should hand it back in his doctorate.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He can stroke his chin all over that. Hotel Transylvania 3, Monsters Overboard, 50% off, $9.99. I've got this sitting there. I was originally planning on doing. I've been planning to do this for ages, but I just have not mustered up the courage to play a movie like this game.
It's a perfect. This will be my next Ben 10. I can just call it.
I mean, it's the same company, so yeah, exactly. You'll be sweet.
Yeah.
I and Me, 33% off, $6.69. Nice. It's a platformer, but it looks a bit cheap. I was watching some of the videos. It doesn't look very interesting, to be honest. For that price, it's probably okay, but I don't know if I'd jump on that. Inside, 67% off, $6.59. Speaking of platformers, this is a great one. So it's made by the same guys who make Limbo, but it doesn't have the die less than 5 times achievements. So you can basically go through it, get all the collectibles, and just actually enjoy the game for a change. I don't understand what's going on in the story, and the ending doesn't make that any clearer, but it's interesting. Visually, it's a very interesting game.
I was going to say, if you want to... Alex has done this, yeah?
Yes,
if you want any opinions on how the game ends, just message Professor Pluto. He will give you a really nice run through.
He'll have a whole video essay. We really should make some content for that. Lilith M, 70% off, $2.99. It is a very basic move around a grid to solve puzzles game, but with 2 things on different screens and stuff. You follow a guide, you'll be fine. There's a couple of tricky, annoying bits, but it's just a very simple game. Mechanica, another great point-and-click adventure from the same universe as Agatha Knife. This game is great. I love it. It's very simple, but the sense of humor is great. The art is just ridiculous, and it's Yeah, they get away with a lot of things in this game. A lot of things that I didn't think would get past certification, actually. There's some messed up things for some kids. And you play as an inventor child who wants to save the world by building a giant robot to rule over everyone else. And she's also addicted to cognac and mixed with hot chocolate. And she's like 8. It's messed up. But to be fair...
What?
But to be fair, Agatha Knife was messed up as well. Because he's starting a murder cult to try and convince animals that they need to die so you can turn them to use them as your butcher food.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a thing. The people who make those games obviously have some very strong opinions and things to say.
Yeah.
Modern Tales, Age of Invention, 50% off, $7.49. It's an Artifex Mundi game. You know exactly what you're getting into.
Yep.
You're going to click on some stuff. You're going to do some puzzles. You're going to look for some hidden objects. And there's
You'll have a great time.
Yeah, you have a great time, and you'll just have a listen to like some of the worst voice acting of that same female voice actor that's in every single one of their games. Murdered Soul Suspect, 85% off, $2.99. We have a lot of games on sale this week. Murdered Soul Suspect is, again, it's not exactly a point-and-click adventure. It's a narrative...
like a driven story experience. More like a walking sim.
Almost. It's almost walking simulator with some very minor puzzles in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I think it's been games with gold a few times.
I mean, for $3 though, like that's a perfectly good game to pick up for a weekend.
Yeah, and the production value is actually surprisingly good. Like it got a full retail release and everything, and it's actually quite well made. Mushroom Quest, 25% off, $3.74. I think this is a rather like a title. It's like a sub-hour completion, so a nice easy one to do.
Yeah.
Nevermind, 75% off, $4.99 is a walking simulator. Make sure you follow a guide because it's a bit esoteric, but also not very good. Newt 1, 30% off, $7. Looks like a platformer. Don't really know much about it. Seems like it's relatively simple though. Noir Chronicles City of Crime, which is another Artifex Mundi game, 50% off. North, 50% off, $2.49. Not so much a game as a how lazy can we be to make a video game experience. It's one of the worst walking simulators I've ever played in my entire life.
No, there's so much deep meaning behind that game. Like,
yep,
that obviously gamers are still trying to figure out.
Yes, no, you're right. It's far beyond what I'll ever understand.
Yeah.
Speaking of things I don't understand, One Night Stand, 25% off, $3.74. This is actually a hilarious visual novel.
This is great.
It's really, really funny, actually. I would highly recommend it.
Like, I don't think I'll ever be putting on frilly underwear again in my life, but...
Never say never. But, yeah, it definitely has a good sense of humor, and I quite enjoyed it. It's pretty short, too. You have to play through it quite a few times to get all the achievements, but it's kind of worth it. I kind of wish there was a bit more to it. Because it is a little bit repetitive and a bit limited, but... You know, it's fine for what it is.
I think it's just how we, like, as achievement hunters play it, though.
True, yeah.
Not so much as
it's a good point.
A gaming experience.
Refunct, 67% off. So as we mentioned, it's similar to Ascendance, where it's a first-person platformer, but with some timing stuff. It's less than $1, so go pick it up. Rememoried, 70% off, $4.49. I believe that is the game that can be done in, like, 30 seconds, right?
I think, excluding loading screens and all that, it was like 15, 16 seconds.
Yeah,
when Macca did it.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, yeah, it's the fastest game ever. So, pick that up. It's still way too expensive, but whatever. Return of the Obra Dinn, 25% off, $14.99. So, this is still too expensive for me to buy it, but it is one of the games that I'm most excited to play.
What is it?
So, the game is you are an insurance assessor.
Yep.
And a ship called the Obra Dinn has returned after being missing for like years. And so your insurance company has told you, hey, go on the ship, try and figure out what happened because all of these sailors were insured and we have to pay out based on what happened to them. So you go on the ship and you have like a vision of something that happened. And so you have a book of everyone who's on the ship and you need to try and figure out what happened to them. So, like, all you have is, like, their, like, first name, like, it's, like, first initial, last name. Oh, no, sorry, I think it's, like, full name, nationality, what their position was, and then you have to try and figure out where they were and how they died. And, like, you can go through the book, like, there's all kinds of things that could have happened to them. But the whole thing is that, like, you go through, and it's not a linear narrative. Like, you go through the chapters, as you figure things out, it unlocks new areas, and you see new visions, but all you see is, like, you hear, like, a voiceover, and you see, like, a still image, or, like, still silhouettes of people, and so it's up to you to piece together, okay, that's the way that they're talking, and he's talking about his nationality, or something like that, or you find documents, and you're like, okay, that guy is clearly English,
Yep.
and he has this last name, and there's a female on board who has, but she's being referred to by her maiden name, but she's married to this person, and in the book I can find her. So it's like you have to try and piece together like context clues from things that you find to try and figure out who's who died when, and how. Is
it? I guess this is a loose comparison. Papers, Please.
No, it's because it's first person, so you're wandering around trying to figure it out.
But that kind of, I guess, intuition. Yeah,
you have to figure things out on your own. It's not super spelled out for you.
Yeah.
So but it is very much like you play it once and that's it. Because once you know the mystery, you know the mystery.
Yeah.
But BF, so 25% off at $14.99 is still a little bit too expensive for me to jump on it straight away. Especially
sounds good though.
It was. I think it came out end of 2018 on PC, and it only came out on the 360 on the Xbox recently.
Yeah.
So I've been looking forward to it, but I think I will once it comes down in price maybe, or I've been trying to hassle them for a review copy. Actually, to be honest, we'll see if they come back with it because I'd love to review it and give an opinion on it.
I mean, if they're only dropping it by 25% 2 years after,
yeah, probably not.
I think you might be holding on a little bit,
maybe a little bit. I'll grab it next year once my New Year's resolution's done.
Yeah.
Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn, 75% off, $5. Super easy side scroller with like the worst sense of humor I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so bad, but it's easy at least. Spencer, 30% off, $4.89. It is a side-scrolling platformer. Nothing special about it whatsoever. Stormboy, 67% off, $1.97. Australian classic story, apparently. Chin is not a fan of the story. I think he
doesn't like Mr. Percival.
No, doesn't like Mr. Percival, which I think is criminal. Yeah, it was fine. It was an easy enough game. So you just play mini games, and it's kind of just a little narrative experience. It's good for cheap.
It was good when we got to talk to the devs at PAX.
Yeah, that was really cool, actually. Yeah, but it was funny when we told them that Chin did not like Mr. Percival, and was glad that he got shot. Spoilers. Tesla Grad, 80% off, $2.99. It is a side-scrolling platformer with some combat and puzzles. I really, really like this game.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's sort of Metroidvania-esque. It's been a while since I played it, but it's not terribly difficult. And they released a sequel for it called Journey to the West, which is a completely different type of game set in the same universe.
I think I have that.
Yeah, I own it. I haven't played through it yet.
I think that had a physical copy.
Yeah, they've definitely released it physically. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
But yeah, so Tesla Grad is actually the prequel to it.
Oh, okay.
So it's set in the same universe, but so Tesla Grad is a side scroller, whereas Journey to the West is a top down sort of third open world game. The Adventures of Elena Temple, which we talked about.
Yeah, baby.
$2.49. Definitely jump on that. The Bridge, 80% off for $2.
Cool.
Excuse me. Little Acre is it's basically just a puzzle game. $3.24. Yeah. Pretty easy, but it does have a speedrun achievement, so make sure you follow a guide. Moose Man, 50% off, $3.49. Kind of a platformer. Not a lot of jumping, but
I don't know. I don't know about Moose Man. I can't get into it.
No, I didn't actually like it all that much, to be honest. And I think getting the collectibles is way more esoteric than it needs to be. Like you have to do all these weird button combinations and stuff, and it's kind of finicky. I didn't really enjoy it very much. Ugly Dolls, An Imperfect Adventure, which I think is the same people who do Ben 10 and Hotel Transylvania.
Rolling my eyes. Yeah,
80% off, $7.99, so it's actually an acceptable price.
Yeah.
Wailing Heights, 60% off, $4.79. Really, really funny side-scrolling point and click where you are you're an old band manager who ends up taking a wrong turn at a concert, and you end up in like a spooky Halloween town where there's like werewolves and ghosts and vampires and stuff. And it's basically like it's like point and clicks. You got to collect stuff, but you can change characters and they have different forms. And there's zombies, and it's very, very fun. It's very British. Like there's a very British sense of humor to it. It's pretty good. What Remains of Edith Finch, 50% off, $9.99. One of my favorite walking simulators, has some of the best narrative of any of them. Highly, highly recommend that. It's a very touching story too. Where the Bees Make Honey, one of the worst walking simulators, 50% off, $4.99. It's terrible.
Wasn't this Alex's favourite?
Yeah, Alex absolutely enjoyed it. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I thought it was great. Speaking of things Alex enjoyed, Your Toy, 60% off, $5.99. That classic puzzle walking simulator horror game.
No.
He did not have a good time with that. But yeah, so like you can tell, there's a lot on sale.
I was going to say, there's so many of them that too are like, I mean, like between your 1 to 5 hour mark.
Yeah, like if you picked up all of these, you could probably raise your Gamerscore by almost 30,000 in a couple of weeks. If you really, really knuckle down. Like a lot of these games are really simple. As for recommendations, I'm going to recommend Bioshock The Collection, 75% off for $14.99. It's all the best parts of Bioshock with none of the multiplayer stuff. It does still have the Clash in the Clouds for Infinite, which is one of the worst DLCs ever. But otherwise, those games are so good. I mean, Infinite has its troubles, but if you've never played them, this is the best time to do it. And I'm also going to recommend Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth for 75% off, $9.99. Really good, relatively long narrative game, but like actually has some like Telltale-esque stuff, but has some really a really beautiful art style, and follows along the book quite well. I would definitely recommend it if you if you're into the narrative, like the Council and that kind of stuff. It's very much in that kind of vein, except less weird. What about you, Cameron?
I mean, the only recommendation that really sticks out to me, probably Sleeping Dogs for $6, 85% off. I mean, there's a few other good things in here, but I mean, they fall into like stuff that's already in Game Pass or stuff that's probably like. I mean, like, if you know that you want a really good racing game, I find that the Crew 2 is pretty good, and that was somewhere.
I wouldn't recommend
price.
The Crew 2. I think it's trash.
What? What was that?
I think the Crew is trash.
The Crew is trash. Crew 2 seems a lot better. From what I've played. Look, I'm the racing.
Yeah, sure, guy. You're right.
So
I barely know how to drive, so.
But yeah, those probably my only two.
All right. So we'll jump straight into the milestones. We've got quite a few this week. So first one, Buck Marley 155 has reached a new milestone of 1 million TA score. Pretty good. A friend of the show, Planting 42, has reached a new milestone of 2,200 games played. Daniel JJ14 has reached a new milestone of 600,000 gamer score. That's pretty good. Mikey Bihoy 89 has reached a new milestone of 250 completed games. Swarmy's McLimey is currently on a 12,000 day achievement win streak.
12,000 day?
12,000? No, sorry, 1,000. Sorry, 1,200 day, 12,000 day.
Okay.
Sorry, I always get.
I'm sure he would be happy with that.
Yeah, he would be.
Like how many years after 12,000 times divided by 365.
Sure, yeah, work it out. No, okay, yeah. Sorry. Swarmy McLimey's currently on a 1,200 day achievement win streak, which is pretty impressive. That's what, 4 years? Yeah,
I was going to say, well, the times 10 of that. Oh, 3 years, 4 years, times 4. Now I can't see what you do. You just do this, and then there's me, and then it's just you, and
it's impressive.
33 years.
33 years.
Going
up
exactly what you're saying for.
It's a long, exactly. McLovin, you want to go with the next ones?
I was going to say, I'll go. Nick Levin Legend 1 has reached a new milestone of 20,000 achievements won. Phil Wendell is currently on a 200-day achievement win streak. Big L has reached a milestone of 500,000 game score. What the Fug has reached a new milestone of 250 completed games. Valak C has reached a new milestone of 200 completed games. And Chin Doctor has reached Diamond 1 Rocket League 2v2. So suck it, Alex.
Hashtag doctors are better than professors, apparently.
That's as much creative control as Kobe had in this episode.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to cut that. So, all right. So I think that's pretty much us for the show.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for. Make sure you get in touch with us at Real Gamerscore on pretty much everything on Twitter and on a Discord. Otherwise, you can also email us at hello@realgamerscore if you want to send us a question. We'll read it out on the show. We always appreciate questions when we've got stuff to talk about. Because, we're very opinionated. Yeah, and you can always, again, you can find us at discord.io/realgamerscore. And then patreon.com/realgamerscore if you want to give us some money so we can keep the lights on and keep the show going.
And even if you can't do that, make sure, tell all your friends. Tell people who aren't your friends. Yes. Kirby's just regularly just dropping it to other people, just like, hey, I absolutely hate your guts, but just listen to us. Give us your money.
Yep, absolutely. Listen to the podcast. And it really helps if you can, if you subscribe and leave reviews on iTunes, other podcast platforms like Stitcher, Spotify, Kingsman Radio, Smoke Signals, Carrier Pigeons. Just get the word out there. We really appreciate it.
Isn't iHeartRadio Kingsman's?
Yeah, Kingsman Radio, yeah.
Yep, Kingsman Radio.
Yeah. And then, retweet our tweets. Cameron's been pretty good on the meme game recently.
Have I, though?
As good as you
I've been posting stuff. So
so that's an improvement. And then individually, if you want to find me, you can find me, our Neomaster on True Achievements, Neomaster 2005 on Twitter, although I don't really post anything on there. And then you can also find me on Discord at Neomaster. I'm pretty much in there 24/7. What about you, Mr. Illuminated Boundary?
God damn it! Alright, so if you want to find me...
Twinkling Cliffs.
Oh, mate. Just these are every new episode is just always gonna have to add to the list. Gonna have an alter cat,
Yep.
Just gotta trademark all these new names before they get taken.
Mr. Bright Border.
So yeah, if you want to contact me, ShadowlessEdge on True Achievements, on Xbox, on I think Twitch and Mixer, maybe when I go back to actually streaming there. Been meaning to do that. If you want to contact me on Twitter, at Real Gamerscore, or we're always in the Discord. We're going on about politics, about how our PMs are better than other PMs, and
yeah, the Australians are basically screwed at this point.
Look, we're just watching our country burn,
literally and figuratively.
Rumor has it Kirby and Matt got out while they can. I'm just still here doing the podcast. But yeah, good episode.
Cool. Yep, I think that does it. I think it does it for. We nailed that one. I think we had a new speed run record of a couple of hours. I think we got a decent chunk for this one. So thanks everyone, and we'll catch you next week. Peace out.
Catch you guys.